We did this last time, classification of hotels, why we do it. So I'll skip this now. And this we just did now. I'll skip this also. By size is simple, as we said last year. That's the only thing, basic. Small hotels, just recapitulate. Small hotels having less than 100 rooms. Medium hotels, 100 to 200. Large, about 300. Very large, about more than 300. So large is between 200 to 300. Very large is more than 300. So let's go by location and clientele. City hotels. What are city hotels? City hotels are also known as business hotels or downtown hotels. So they are located at the heart of the city. The clientele, business traveler. Why does the business traveler stay here? Because all his client offices are near the hotel. The government offices are nearby because it's in the heart of the city. Time is of efficiency for the businessman. Remember that. He or she prefers to finish his work fast in the optimum fashion and return back to the hotel in the least amount of time. Cost of land is very, very expensive here in the heart of the city. Hence, the structure is vertical. Each inch of space is used to the optimum use. So it's very, very expensive. And normally the occupancy will typically be from Monday morning to Friday evening. The business traveler will prefer to fly in on Monday morning and leave on Friday evening when the office, after finishing his work in the office in the city, meeting everybody, wrapping up his work for that week. And Monday early morning, or she might land on Sunday evening to get a good night's sleep and start early Monday morning. So at times flights do get delayed and his appointments may go for a toss the whole day on a Monday to avoid that. And what is the typical stay of a guest in a business hotel? 3 to 4 nights typically. At the most, maximum will be from Monday to Friday, Monday to Thursday night, or Sunday night to Thursday night. And facilities typically needed. What is needed for a business traveler? Business center with the latest telecommunication equipment, secretarial and interpreter services available, and also boardrooms and small meeting rooms and business lounges for him to meet with his clients or guests if need be. Health club, because nowadays is the age of fitness and physical conditioning, for a gym, swimming pool, and everything is done with a high level of excellency and exclusively for the traveling executive. Now, nowadays, with the high number of lady executives traveling, city hotels have started allocating a separate floor or one or two floors for lady travelers, lady guests only. This gives them the safety. They're waited and served upon only by lady staff. So that's another privilege. And there is a special exclusive lift for the lady guests, which only goes from the ground floor to their floor. Which is so wonderful. And they might have privileged floors. Business travelers in business city hotels, you'll have these privileged floors. Some business guest might stay in a privileged room because that's known as because the corporate points that he earns staying in the same hotel again and again, or will become a huge number of rooms this company might be generating to the hotel. So because of the loyalty program or the reward program, so there's an exclusive floor where there's personalized touch. A separate building, maybe at times. Valet service, personalized touch. There might be a separate dining room there exclusively for them. And separate health club, gym, etc. for them. A separate business lounge exclusively for them. A library, a bar also at times. So this is pandering to the whims of the business traveler. And the room rates nowadays includes the room rate as well as the breakfast is complimentary. Why is that done? Because the business traveler prefers to leave early in the morning. At about 8 o'clock, 8:39, he prefers to leave the hotel and after sumptuous breakfast. He wants to avoid the delay of waiting for room service and to be only relegated to the two items on the menu. So hotels nowadays prefer to lay a sumptuous buffet in the coffee shop, a breakfast buffet, where there's live cooking. So the guest can choose. Typically, the guests will get up in the morning and have tea, coffee, shower, get dressed, go down to the. And tea, coffee reminds me, hotels have decided, have now put kettles in the electric kettles in the rooms. So that does away with extra manpower for room service and delay in service of tea, coffee. What happens is then the guest makes his tea or his coffee according to choice, as per the tea bags or coffee bags put there, and the milk and sugar is provided. So guest has his tea, coffee, comes down dressed to the coffee shop, has the breakfast, has a sumptuous breakfast. He sees what is there, the big spread, eats to his heart's content, and he leaves for the day to work, happy in the morning. And it is very advantageous for the hotel also. The chef knows the house count is the number of breakfasts that he has to serve. And even if residents of the city drop in for breakfast, there is no panic because everything is organized. It's a buffet. You can always bring in supplies. And the F&B manager can also do away with extra unnecessary manpower and room service, which is very irritating for hoteliers. There might be one or two odd guests in the hotel who will want a room service breakfast or a tea. You can always send in one boy. And that is advantageous for the hotel and for the guest. Typically, the guest goes in the morning and returns back in the evening after the day's work, goes to the room, shower. He might come down to the restaurant, a specialty restaurant, or the coffee shop for dinner, or order for room service. You never know. So the hotel also has signature restaurants or specialty restaurants. We'll come to what is the difference between signature restaurants and specialty restaurants later. Signature restaurant, specialty restaurant, and a 24-hour coffee shop and a 24-hour room service is very, very essential for a business hotel. Now, check-in, check-out time. Check-in time is at 12 p.m. Check-out is at 9 a.m. That gives housekeeping the time to transform the room, clean the rooms and make it from dirty to clean. And so then we go on to suburban hotels. Sorry, another little facility that's provided in business hotels is a 24-hour, apart from 24 hours coffee shop and 24-hour room service, there'll be 24-hour travel desk also. It's very, very essential. And then you go to suburban hotels, located in the suburbs, vertical structures, but the land cost being cheaper, the room rates are a little cheap. So that attracts all these budget business travelers who prefer to stay there and take the strain of traveling from the suburbs to the city for business. They don't mind that because they save a lot of money, big money. So what suburban hotels have done now is they have upgraded the services because public transport services and road infrastructure has improved drastically, very much, has improved very, very well. And so has the automobile efficiency. So they have started providing the same services that the city hotels provide and the same facilities and the same amenities also, like boardroom, conference room, everything. So what they are doing is they are attracting now the city hotel business traveler. He finds it easier because for him, even time and money is both equally important. So now with the improvement in the public transport and the roads infrastructure, traveling is much more easier. So he or she prefers to stay in the suburban hotel and travel to the city and save a lot of money. And suburban hotels typically are used by corporates hold their HR meetings because employees also feel that they're going out of the city. So they get a feeling of going on a little bit of a recreation, a little bit of a outing, and they hold their HR meets there, away from the city, the hustle part of the city. They too provide the same facilities and amenities as I said of the city hotels. Transit hotels. What are transit hotels? Transit hotels are nothing else but hotels located at points of entry and exit. Typically, airports are what you're looking at. Airports, railway station, bus stations. Meant for those travelers in transit. Vertical structures again, because land cost is still high, but it's still in the periphery of the city, or in the city nowadays. Clientele, transit. Near the airport, hotels have a clientele of transit passengers, layover passengers, and airline crew. And what is the facilities? Because of guest check-in and check-out at odd hours, they'll have a 24-hour multi-cuisine coffee shop, which is serving food and beverage throughout the clock, of the time of the day. And the room service is 24 hours. And they'll have a 24-hour travel desk because guests have to reach the airport at odd hours to catch a flight. Check-in, check-out is policy is 24 hours. So from the time you check in to the time you check out, the hours are calculated and pro rata you charge for them. Convention hotel. What are convention hotels? They're these huge, humongous edifices with about big enough to host about big enough to have 500 to 700 rooms or more than that, and they are meant for location city. Nowadays, most city hotels in the annex open with a convention hotel, or they acquire land around their place to build their own convention hotel alongside their city hotel. It helps because room spillage, number one, two, extra hands, and conventions is big business. It's a big business nowadays. And delegates, salesmen, these medical company salesmen, these tire company salesmen, any salesman, this 1,000, 2,000 delegates, 1,000 to 2,000 salesmen, the cement dealers, big companies, they're delegates. And facilities, huge banquet halls, which can be partitioned with according to the need and according to the number of people, with seating, partitioned with soundproof walls, prefabricated, and state-of-the-art equipment, audio video equipment. They also have a business center, 24-hour room service, and 24-hour coffee shop. Maybe one restaurant and one signature restaurant. Signature restaurant normally is not found here. One restaurant specialty, and of course a travel desk. Oh God, I had enough of these cities. So I'll take a drive and let me go to a out of the city. I want to go out of the city on the highway and drive to my heart's content. But then where do I stop by in case I need to use a washroom, or in case I need to eat something, or in case I might need to sleep an overnight? I'm tired of driving. There's always a motel. The motel is motorway hotel, or located on highways and located on the freeways, which is an American concept. which we'll get to learn in the next video on history of hotel industry. And the motels are normally meant for those on the road, as I said earlier, travelers. They're normally vertical structures, 1 or 2 floors, and a little spread out. And typically, they have the guests are clientele are typically guests who stay by for 1 night or maximum 2 nights, who are tired of driving. They want to stay the night. And people, travelers who just want to step in, use the washroom, have a beverage or two, have some meals, and proceed on the way. And facilities also include, more important, petrol refilling station and automobile servicing facility. Now, where do I go from hotel now? Where do I start going? From city, where do I go? I'm in a motel now. I go to, because I'm totally stressed, so I go to a resort or a wellness retreat. Now, what is a resort or a wellness retreat? A resort or a wellness retreat are hotels which are located in places of scenic beauty away from the hustle and bustle of city. But why? What is the need there? Well, the location is scenic beauty, that is hills, beach, wildlife sanctuary, somewhere which is quiet and nice. And structure, spread out. Could be cottages, could be lateral built, row houses sort of buildings with a lot of accent on natural surroundings, greenery, quiet, silence, and the smell of and the fragrance of fresh oxygen. Clientele, holiday makers, honeymooners who want time to themselves, want to be with themselves. They don't want any disturbance like in a city hotel, suburban hotel. Hustle bustle. Life is easy, informal. And the guest stay is normally limited to 3 or 4 nights or 6 nights at the most, but it could be longer. Nowadays, corporates also head to resorts or retreats to hold their employee meets, to hold star employees meets or their reward program meets. So it helps them to get away, and it gives the employee a sense of getting a holiday on behalf of the company to build up loyalty. Facilities, limited room service, maybe a coffee shop, which is not 24 hours, a restaurant at times, but more important, a coffee shop which is multi cuisine. And because guests prefer to go out in the day to see the surroundings, to go and see the wildlife, to trek in the hills, or walk along the beach, or sit by the beachside, and come back late evening, late afternoon or the early evenings, well in time for maybe tea and some snacks, and then dinner. Hence, the accent is on breakfast, sumptuous breakfast, and evening snacks and dinner. Of course, some guests would love to stay the daytime also in the hotel. So for them, the lunch is always there, room service for 1 or 2 guests, then 3, 4 guests. That's not a big deal at all. But most important, what is wellness retreat? The trend today is to go to a wellness retreat with all the cases we hear about hypertension, stress. Wellness retreats are the need of the hour because they are upgraded resorts, and we call it upgraded resorts that turn into boutique hotels. They have facilities of what the resorts offer, same thing. Besides that, they may have Ayurvedic and naturopathy diet plans, and naturopathy and Ayurveda doctors, counselors offering you counseling you for your health. yoga practices, massages, spas. So all accent on health with enjoyment. A good library for you to sit and read, hammocks all across the place for you to relax, for the guests to relax, and just to chill out. Chill out is the term, right? Nowadays, and the youth use to chill out is the term. Yes. So now that we read the resorts and the receipts, and we have rejuvenated, refreshed, and get back. Let's get back to work and go back to the go back home via the motels again. Have something in the motel and go back home to go to work. Now, based on star ratings and degree of service. Now, based on star rating and degree of service, star rating as we discussed yesterday, 5-star, 1-star, 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, and 5-star deluxe. Right? Now, how does this happen? In different countries, we have different processes to grade a star facility hotel. Now, how this happens is we'll explain. In India, it's very simple. In India, but basically, star ratings across the world are based on certain simple parameters of luxury, infrastructure, etc., which we'll discuss in detail. Star rating in India is done based on. So the first we'll go through. It is done by a committee of tourism officials, industry managers, industry veterans, travel agents and tour operators, a eclectic mix of all of them. And they go to audit a hotel which wants a particular star rating. And they audit it, or a particular hotel which needs an upgradation from maybe a 3 to a 4, or a 4 to a 5-star, or a 1 to a 2, or a 2 to a 3. Depends. So the basic factors are END, end, essentials, necessities, and desirables. Essentials are the most important. They have to be there. If they're not there, the hotel is stuck off. Necessities also have to be there. Desirables, well, they could do desirables to get a better star rating. But for that particular star rating that they need to have the essentials and necessities in place. Now, these are basically star rating are basically done on basis of the luxury standards, the basis of services provided, the number of restaurants, the facilities of a swimming pool, health club, discotheque, all that is taken into account for each particular star grading. 24-hour coffee shop, 24-hour room service. It's a list which you tick the boxes. But basically, the accent is on luxury standards. In Australia, the Automobile Association of Australia, based on the travelers' feedback, send their inspectors to visit and audit the hotel and grade that hotel according to the star rating, according to the inspector, and the a mix of both the inspectors' audits reports and the travelers' feedback. And then we go to United States. In America, they also do it with the Automobile Association of America. I'm sorry. Where the travelers, they go on and they go to check. They go and they find out. So typically, like Australia, the Automobile Association of America, the travelers who stay in hotels, their feedback is taken, and again physical inspection is done, and again eclectic mix of both is done, and the hotel is graded accordingly. In UK, it's different. In France, it's different. In Philippines, it's different. Now let's look at how it is different. We'll go to that story. In France, it is based on the number of. In France, it is based on the square area of reception, the square area of the guest room, the square area of the guest bathroom attached, whether the guest was escorted to the room at the time of check-in, his luggage is carried, and then whether the staff know, besides French and English, additional foreign languages. And so they rate their hotels according to 1 to 4 ratings and 5. But the French also have a palace hotel. Interesting, isn't it? But that's not a palace like in India or in Japan. The imperial palaces. No. It is a 5-star hotel, which is creme de la creme, is termed the palace hotel. In the Philippines, the tourism board grades the hotel according to their own systems. In UK, Automobile Association again, and the tourist boards of England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, tourist boards do the grading, eclectic mix of both the boards and the Automobile Association. Degree of service. The degree of service again is, as you discussed earlier, luxury, world class, and mid-market, mixed segment, budget, and economy. World class. How do you go to world class? When you talk about world class or luxury, what are we talking about? We are talking about top of the line services, personalized services with emphasis on luxury, class. So naturally, you will have restaurants, lounges, personalized service, etc. So city hotels and commission hotels to a degree, resorts and wellness retreats come to this category, including even at times palace hotels fall in this because they are luxury. So it depends again. All these gradings, remember, are flexible. It depends. There's no fixed structure. They're just parameter factors for parameters for us to kind of grade them in some structure for us to understand them better. Mid-market, mid-segment, modest services, no personalized services, but in comparison to the world-class luxury hotels. Now, some transit hotels may come in this mid-market, mid-segment hotel segment. May. In the mid-market, mid-segment hotels, you may have to pay for some services which you take for granted. For example, a Wi-Fi, or even for lunch and dinner, you may have to pay to get from outside. They may not have a restaurant inside the hotel. Or for the matter, any other service, laundry, even pressing your clothes, ironing your clothes, you might be maybe charged for it, for every little thing. You may be charged for hot water also. Then you go to budget economy hotels. Simple, clean service with accent on basics. Limited services, absolutely limited services. Now, before you go to this economy hotel details, OYO hotels, you may put them in this mid-market, mid-segment, or on the budget category, depending on how you look at it. I leave that to you. But the economy budget hotels are typically the homestays, youth hostels. They fall in this category. Typically, simple services, no personalized, nothing personalized. You have to eat what is given there, as simple as that. Let's proceed to the next one. We've done the star rating already. Depends on infrastructure, luxury standards, facilities, and amenities for guests. 5-star and above means 5-star deluxe. A degree of service, I just mentioned here. I just explained this to you before. And the duration of stay. Overnight stay, apartment stay, residential stay. Overnight stay would be the stay for 1 or 2 nights. That is the business traveler. Could be a transit also. A transit could also stay for a day use or 4 or 5 hours. Typically a motel guest or a transit hotel guest. A layover or a crew. Residential can be in the form of apartment hotels or service hotels where they stay for a long time. Then you go to flotels. What are flotels? Flotels are simple. Uh, Houseboats in Kerala are flotels. Houseboats on Dal Lake, Srinagar are flotels. They take the guests on a cruise along the lake or the river in the Kerala in the back on the backwaters during the day, and they cook. They cook food for them on board, catching fresh fish, and buying fresh supplies from the other boats on the vegetables and other things from the other boats on the plying on the same route, and serve the guest. By evening time, late night, evening night time, they moor it near the, they park it near the banks of the river, and there is a spacious place inside which they have the boat, which they have converted into a nice spacious quarters for the guests to stay, air conditioned, with en-suite facilities, and they resume the journey the next morning. Yeah. Palace hotels. Palace hotels in Japan, there is one palace hotel which is very famous, but I forget its name. In India, so many palaces owned by the erstwhile Maharajas, now leased out, a portion of it leased out, or the entire palace leased out to a hotel chain like Welcome Group, ITC Hotels, Oberoi's, Taj, Rambagh Palace, Shivnivas Palace, Lake Palace, Umed Bhavan Palace. So many heritage hotels. They are symbolic of a culture or of a heritage of a bygone era. So maybe a structure which is associated with a period of time in history, which is very rare to find. 100 years old is the minimum for a heritage hotel. Some may be more than 200, 100 years old. Some palace hotels fall in this heritage hotels category also. Luxury on the rails. Have you heard of this? Luxury on the rails? What is the first train that you can think of? Luxury on the rails. Those of you who read books, who read classic thrillers by Agatha Christie, Orient Express, Murder on the Orient Express. That is the finest and the first instance that strikes to people who are inveterate readers, who love to read thrillers. This is the murder of a person on board the Orient Express. If I recall correct, there are about 7 to 8 people who are suspected of murdering him. Anyway, that's beside the topic. Orient Express, the first luxury train in the world. And then you have the Palace on Wheels in India, which is a magnificent heritage train. They travel by the day, they travel by night, and they stop at places of historic value or tourist attraction where the passengers alight, and where they're taken around the city and they're brought back. And the train has got its own bar, its own restaurants, personalized service with butler service. Each compartment having its own space with each with a bathroom attached. Luxury personified. Homestays, which is a new trend now. The governments across the world have started this homestays, where the tourism board of the country or of the state approves certain households and allows them to allows guests to stay in their homes, foreigners or domestic guests, and they stay in a particular bedroom or a year-marked particular space, and they share the food that is cooked by the household, or they themselves can attend cook there, and it's like staying in a home. Hence, the prices are less, very informal, better than a hotel, and the guest feels very nice, gets to know more of the culture and the heritage of the place, and the hosts also that way get to know more about the other parts of the world, and they get to know there's a lot of intermingling of cultures, like what used to happen in the sarais earlier, which you'll learn later in the history of the hotel industry. So the homestay is something like a sarai of modern times. Youth hostels, primarily meant for youth. YMCA is a nice example of youth hostels. I don't have to say anything more about youth hostels. YMCA, Young Men's Christian Association Youth Hostels. Government accommodation can be where do I start from? The circuit houses, the state bhavans in every city. In Delhi, you'll find UP Bhavan, Haryana Bhavan. All the states have their bhavans. That is establishment for lodging and boarding to stay for their elected representatives, also for the officials, and for the ordinary citizens also to stay there and on trip. Classification of hotels by ownership. Sole proprietorship, based on owned by one person, limited resources, and it's a typical mom dad hotel. The hotel is run by that one person's diktat or will. Partnership, two or more people come together to partner and invest. One might come with money, one might come with expertise in a particular department, and they share their profits and losses as per the partnership deed to operate and manage the hotel. Family owned. Of course, the partnership company has got far more resources than a single sole proprietorship company. But taking a decision is difficult here because there are more than two people and more than one head taking a decision. You'll find they're very contentious at times. People tend to get entrenched, one against two or two against two. Family owned. Typically, the sole proprietorship starts as a sole proprietorship. And as the children grow up, they get married, they have grandchildren. So the sole proprietor becomes old, aged. So he divides his property, gives a share of the hotel to each particular member of the family, and that becomes family owned. Private limited company. When the number of partners is much more than required for a partnership, then the partners they float a private limited company where they have a board of directors, and here the resources are much more than the partnership company also, because here the partners can The directors can use the networks to get more money from their contacts. And the liability of the firm is limited to the assets of the partners, assets that they own, the directors own. Public limited company, where the company is owned by the public in the form of shares and stocks. Where the company has mobilized funds from the public in the market by issuing shares and by stock options. They have huge resources, and that way they can employ the best talent available for their expertise. These companies are professionally managed very, very well, and the chain hotels are publicly owned. Normally, the big chains. Management contract. The hotel is leased out to a professional company for a time period to manage and operate. Normally, the senior members of the management come from the professional company, and they manage the resort. They manage the hotel. Typically, a sole proprietorship goes this way into a management contract when there's no turbulent times. Timeshare. A property or a block or a unit owned by more than one person. Each person uses it for a limited period of time in a calendar year, as decided earlier. Condominium. A flat or even a block of flats or an apartment complex owned by one person who rents it out when he is not using it. It is looked after by a caretaker, and the owner gets a percentage of rent which is received by the caretaker from the person who's using it when on rent. That's the difference between timeshare and condominium. Franchise. How different is franchise from management? In a franchise, a standalone hotel having no expertise, having no resources to create, approaches a big company with a good branding, expertise, and they sign a contract where the standalone hotel becomes a franchise property of the big company. The standalone hotel has to pay the franchisor some amount of money because the franchisor takes interest in, and the franchisee has to spend money to upgrade the hotel standards as per the demands, as per the standards of the franchisor. And the franchisor will also train and develop the standalone hotel staff according to the franchisor standard. Advantages for the franchisee, because now the hotel becomes part of a group. He gets profits, and he doesn't have to operate. He doesn't have to have any tensions for operating the hotel and managing the hotel. Advantages for the franchisor, because the franchisor company, gets a hotel in that particular place to add to their portfolio without investing in building a hotel there, and a hotel of their own standards. The franchisor will market and will sell the rooms of the hotel now from central reservation office of their own company. So that is it in the ownership